Jorge Lopez. There's been all the talk in MLB for the language barrier that has become the big talk of, well, at any bar that you go to today. Did he say worst teammate, or did he say the Mets were the worst effing team? Team or teammate is the big question from last night's post-presser where Jorge Lopez, Chad, the struggles began when he entered the game after the top of the eighth, and subsequently he surrendered a double. Then he had a fly out by Mookie Betts.
Yep.
Then he gave up a homer to Shohei Ohtani.
2-run bomb.
And that made the
Ohtani.
score 9-3.
Yep.
And then Lopez thought that he had a strike on a check swing from Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, it wouldn't have even been a strikeout. It was a 2-1 pitch that was low and inside.
Made
and
it 2-2.
He thought that he got a swing from Freddie Freeman.
And that's when he was pissed off for greatness with Ramon De Jesus, the third base umpire, that said that Freeman, in fact, did check his swing. He didn't record a strike on that.
Gave the safe call down at third base when they appealed, and then you could see Lopez immediately say something to the third base umpire.
So then Lopez didn't take that well. He ends up throwing his glove into the stands above the netting that protects the fans from broken bats or foul balls right behind the plate over next to the Mets dugout. And then, well, doesn't regret doing that, but is saying that there's a language barrier issue with what he did say about whether or not the Mets, who had quite the May, are MLB's worst effing team, or if he's the worst effing teammate.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do it, I'll be tomorrow here if they want me. Whatever they want to do. So, I'm gonna keep doing this thing. So I'm healthy and whatever. And whatever to do. I'm ready to come back tomorrow, and if they want me to be here, so I'll be here.
Chad, yet again, here we are, the latest language barrier problem and controversy.
So we got to have our guy Guns on at some point, because I've been following him on X today, and his contention is sort of that the media screwed Jorge Lopez into getting designated for assignment. I will say that if he wanted to continue being a New York Met, Jorge Lopez screwed himself not by the Yanni Laurel of misunderstandings, but by answering the question of, do you regret it? A setup that began with Carlos Mendoza, your manager, said your behavior tonight by chucking your glove into the crowd after being ejected is unacceptable. Do you regret it? No, not a thing. That's where you got your ass sent back away. That's where you got your ass kicked out of the major leagues. It had nothing to do with the misunderstanding on whether or not you're saying that you're a part of the worst effing team or you're the worst effing teammate. I'll say, having listened to it a bunch of times, I fully believe him that he was trying to say clearly, I'm probably the worst effing teammate in all of Major League Baseball, right? That's what I hear. I also think when you implant something in someone's mind of what they're listening for or what you're looking for and trying to see it, you're going to hear it. You're going to see it quite often, much like the Yanni Laurel debate.
And I said that in the text chain because if
you say it right before, it's always that's going to be on your mind.
Yeah. He tried to clarify this a bit on his Instagram account. Lopez did, where even on Instagram he's having the language barrier issues. I believe we have that.
The Instagram post?
We do not. Okay, so he says that he's saying the worst teammate instead of worst team.
I've got it here. He said he is posting on someone else's video, and
he's
he
responding.
says,
So as he's DFA, as he's designated for assignment.
I mean, it's just, look, it's hilarious.
It's awesome.
If I played pro basketball in Lithuania and tried to conduct media interviews, I would sound like an idiot, and I would step in it and say the wrong things at times. So I am somewhat sympathetic to Jorge Lopez. This is not his first language, It's a second language, and he's answering questions, and it doesn't always come across so clearly. Here's the quote from his Instagram account where he's responding to someone saying that he plays on the worst team in probably the whole effing MLB. He quotes that and says, "Whoever hear me, I said teammate, and what I said on the situation, I've been the worst teammate. Thanks media for make it worse." No punctuation. Thanks media for make it worse. From Jorge Lopez.
Wait, he's already agreed that it's really bad?
Yeah. Now,
they've made it worse.
I think the media probably jumped to some conclusions because everything I saw last night, Falness, I sent you guys the tweets about it. Everything I saw was quoting him as saying,
yes,
to make things worse after getting ejected and giving up a 2-run home run and throwing his glove into the Citi Field crowd.
Yes.
He then says he plays on the worst effing team in Major League Baseball, talking about the Mets, which right now, not a lot of people may disagree with that, the way they've been playing.
And then he was, and then he was asked to clarify, later in the presser, and he said, all of it.
Yeah, that was weird. I read a story earlier where they said, did you mean team, teammate? What were you saying? And he just kind of said all of it.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't know that he's understanding the question even being asked to him at that point.
Well,
when he says all of it?
He knew the answer whenever he's asked if he regrets throwing his glove, right?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know what all this reminded me of, though, Hutton? It takes me back to a special place in time.
Yes.
Where Sammy Sosa, gregarious star of the Chicago Cubs, could speak very good English most turns throughout his career, suddenly forgot how to speak English when faced with a congressional hearing on steroids. Here is a little bit of that testimony from the great Sammy Sosa.
Thank you, Mr. Sosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was back there in the room, and I was watching in TV the two family that lost the two kids, and really shocked me and break my heart. I want to send the sympathy to those family that got to go through that situation, and the quicker we can resolve this problem, steroid, which is bad for kids. I'm willing to work with you guys and do the best that I can to stop that. I just want to say that. Thank you very much.
He's talking about kids dying in that one, so maybe not the funniest of the clips, but you get the point. When Sammy Sosa was questioned about steroids throughout, he basically went to his attorney and said, I don't understand the questions.
Well, and later,
I'm not very good at English. And that's how he got away with everything during the testimony.
Look, I speak one language, so props to anyone that can speak two, whatever. The broken English, he speaks English better than that.
Broken English is better than I could speak any other language other than English.
He speaks, and again, it's hilarious that they, you have Rafael Palmeiro, saying they never took steroids. You have Sosa say that he needs a translator based on the hearing that's taking place. When, he didn't have that, didn't need that throughout some of the best moments of the home run chase with him and McGuire. All of this does remind me of that. Because there's throwing the glove into the stands, and then there's the, not track record, but the history of what Lopez has done with the Mets. Because you mentioned Guns, who will be on with us tomorrow, I believe. He'll join us tomorrow. He points out that he also, had a mental health problem last year. And you brought up the Guns, like what he amplified the audio, and you can hear it. But in the locker, in the clubhouse, I understand, he was asked to clarify. He's saying that he doesn't regret throwing his glove into the stands. I also hear worst effing team. I don't hear teammate until someone points out teammate. And he hadn't talked with the manager. He hadn't talked with any of his teammates. He was asked about that too. And when he's asked to clarify what he meant, he's like, all of it. I don't know what to take of that other than you're clarifying that you meant worst effing team. And, they are. They're among the very worst. What they fell to 22 and 33. 2 games above the Marlins.
Can we talk about mental health a little bit? Because I feel like every person in sports media is constantly posting something about mental health awareness.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're struggling, reach out. Reach out to me, reach out to this person, reach out to a medical professional.
Yeah, and I'm one of them.
Do all of these things. Yeah.
That will point that out.
Yeah, for sure. And your history dictates that you should be pointing those things out. I think all of those things are great. I will also say that when discussing a story in sports or professional life, because you have mental health issues does not allow you to do or get away with anything and retain your job. So there are two different things.
Right.
Jorge Lopez, who took time away from the Mets a year ago, right? Let's distinguish between the two. Took time away from the Mets a year ago to get right with his mental health, to seek help with that. That's good. You hope that things improve with that. But if your mental health starts to crack and cause you to get yourself ejected from a game, chuck your glove into the crowd, and then when you are presented with what your manager, your boss said about the situation being unacceptable, which any professional Major League Baseball clubhouse would tell you doing that is unacceptable, especially if you're a borderline pitcher in Major League Baseball, and your response is, do you regret it? No, you're going to get fired. Mental health aside, regardless. I hope he gets his mental health figured out. I hope all of that goes well for him.
He returned.
Yeah, a year ago he did, and now, but when you return from it, you can't just continue to get away with things professionally and keep your job.
I don't hear him saying that he should.
He's basically daring the Mets in that clip to say, if they want me here tomorrow, I'll be here. If not, they need to do what they need to do. I mean, he is telling them, cut me if you feel like you need to cut me.
It also sounds like a player doesn't give a damn to me. More than trying to bait the Mets into doing it. I think he knew what was going to happen based on his roster status. And he'll be called back up. And here's the thing, Chad. If they just cut him, and a team that needs some type of relief pitching picks him up, I bet he crushes it. I bet he goes out and does great, because that's part of the storyline with this. He's the guy that threw the glove into the stands. He's the John Rocker. He's the Kenny Powers now of Major League Baseball. And I mean,
now we do need more blow-ups in baseball. Like, I love a good meltdown. At any time.
Isn't part of this too, Carlos Mendoza, who's talking about the glove, this is in the middle of a meltdown for the Mets throughout the last month. So I think that's also played into the reaction to this. If they were this were just a random Wednesday night loss in the middle of a 5-game win streak, does he get DFA? I don't necessarily know. Because they're playing well. And they lost to the Dodgers, who are the Dodgers this year.
The Mets are 22-33. They are 7-18 in May. Oh. They've lost 8 of their last 9 games. So they're definitely in a tailspin right now. Now it's still early. There's plenty of time for them to have a respectable season. Even 11 games under 500 right now, but it does not look good. We like numbers on this show. Here are some numbers for you. Payroll in Major League Baseball. The New York Mets, $344.6 million in payroll. Oh. They are the most expensive team in Major League Baseball. They're 22-33. The other top 4 payrolls in the league, the Los Angeles Dodgers at $329 million. They're 14 games over 500. The New York Yankees are 18 games over 500. They're next in line. The Atlanta Braves are 10 games over 500. They're 4th. And the Philadelphia Phillies are 21 games in their division, $86 million less than what the Mets are spending this year.
We're the Orioles.
In payroll. The Orioles have gotten up closer to respectability, but still, they're way down there. But point being, the Mets are both expensive and bad. And even if he was trying to say they're the worst effing team in MLB, there's probably a little bit of truth to that also. It's definitely one of the worst clubhouses. I would say the clubhouse culture is not great, given the money they're spending and the return on that investment so far this season.
Whoever hear me, I said teammate, and what I said on the situation, I've been the worst teammate thanks to media for make it worse. That's the quote from Jorge Lopez. I want to say Javi Lopez for a moment. Jorge Lopez.
If he was Javi Lopez, he'd still have a job.
Javi would still be.
Javi Lopez in the mid-'90s, had he done that, thrown his catcher's mitt into the crowd, the Braves would have retained him, even if he said, I'm on the worst effing team in MLB. Because he was that good.
We have the new Sosa with the misquote, right? Laurel or Yanni, Chad, when you hear this? We know the controversy. We know the debate. What was it, 8 to 10 years ago now?
I mean, all these years run together to me now.
Was it a gold and
2014 maybe?
Black
was
and
it 10
white
years ago?
dress or a yellow and something dress? I don't know. Here is Laurel or Yanni.
Laurel.
So what did
Laurel. Laurel.
I hear Laurel.
Laurel every time.
Okay. I don't hear Yanni. So many people said that they heard Yanni.
Yeah.
Play it one more time.
Laurel. Laurel. Laurel.
Does anyone in studio hear Yanni?
Raise your hand if you hear Yanni. Maybe it was just a 2014 thing. Maybe it was a mind trick in that era, and now it's
like a David
disappeared.
Blaine mind trick?
I remember being upset with people that heard it differently back then.
And then the dress
and
debate.
thinking, are you lying?
Then the dress
You're lying, right? Because there's no way you're hearing something different than Laurel.
But if you don't hear, if I don't tell you that the options are Laurel, would you hear Yanni? To your point.
Laurel. Laurel.
I hear Laurel
you said
every time.
I was thinking Yanni because you said Yanni first, and I still hear Laurel.
Okay.
So I'm not. I don't think this is just hearing it and then
teammate.
Manifesting it mentally to think that I'm hearing that. I think that Jorge Lopez.
I didn't hear teammate at all until today.
It would have been a hilarious response if Jorge Lopez went and got the Yanni Laurel audio and brought them. I'd like the media to come back over here to my locker. I got something to play for you, and you tell me what this is right here. Tell me now.
Does it say where he's going to be sent to? Maybe he should do that from the clubhouse there.
So he's designated DFA, designated for assignment, which basically means he's getting cut.
He's getting cut.
He's just going to the minors,
Right.
but he's getting cut. So now you can come and negotiate to get him if you're another team.
Would you want the Braves to negotiate to get?
You know,
Jorge
I felt
Lopez?
a lot better about the Braves clubhouse when the guys who were the 27 Yankees a year ago could hit. Right now, the best offense in the history of Major League Baseball. And look, losing Acuna Jr. is a big loss. They can't hit. They can't score runs. The guys who hit last year aren't hitting. Marcell Ozuna is the only guy on the team that can hit, and that's it. I had a joke there, but I decided not to use it.
Oh, you did?
I told
Okay.
you off air.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. They're not scoring runs, Hutton. I'm very upset.
Chad, I need to crowdsource this a bit in the studio. Okay. Dove Kleiman.
I love a good crowdsource.
If you follow the NFL, and if you're on X and you use X all the time, formerly known as Twitter, I use it for news. Okay. I feel like if you're constantly checking, you're constantly checking for breaking news. Dove Kleiman on social on X is his account that has 290,000 followers is known for aggregating the top news across the NFL and putting it out. Now, I have known over the years that not everything has been totally accurate. So I don't take it for 100% truth like his Twitter account. I say his. We don't know exactly who he is right now. His Twitter account.
Could be a they.
They claim to be through the description on said Twitter account where it says the most accurate NFL news out there. Whatever. The most recent example is with Raiders owner Mark Davis and a model, a former Cirque du Soleil dancer, where there was a report that said that through Dove Kleiman and his account, falsely reported that a 26-year-old was carrying Mark Davis's baby. Mark Davis, who's 70, and a 26-year-old model carrying Mark Davis's baby. To which the model on social media fires back and says, no, absolutely not. Reports of Mark Davis being the father of my child are wildly untrue. I was pictured sitting next to him at a game in 2022 and have endured false rumors of a romantic relationship since. I was just a guest sitting in the owner's box with other friends. These continued media stories are negatively affecting what should be my happiest days. Joey and I are excited to welcome our baby in the fall. That's Joey Gallo, who she's talking about.
Really?
Joey Gallo is the father, not Mark Davis. But this was sent out, and everyone, I'm getting group texts from who, this is Mark Davis's child, and you get to Mark Davis set a table across from myself and Clay and several others last week here in Nashville for the NFL owners meetings.
You can confirm that the Hayden Hopkins was not with him, correct?
Hayden Hopkins was not there.
Not present.
There were other women there.
You're a better reporter than Dove Kleiman already.
There were other women there. I am not reporting that any of them were impregnated by Mark Davis that night. I can tell you.
Cannot confirm.
I can tell you that the report that he pays $100 for each haircut is, when you see it in person, it's even worse than seeing this bowl cut on photos. But Chad, I don't look at this. $100 was the report. This was years ago. So based on just inflation, maybe we $200 now for the haircut.
Does that include tip?
Probably not.
I don't think if you get that haircut, you even tip.
But look, so here's.
I think it's just understood. Like, oh, you're giving me $100. We'll say 70's the tip because this is a $30 haircut. So tops.
30.
15.
This looks like a child who had chewing gum in their hair and they needed to cut it out.
$85 on the tip.
There's no telling what Hayden Hopkins is paying for her haircut, but it's certainly
she's paying for a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
And she's not paying for a lot.
So this false report brings up what many front office sports is digging up this, that of the 290,000 followers on X, Kleiman, who I'm not even sure has ever shown his face. He has an avatar for his account on X. He has many more followers across the board on social media, but of course he's getting his name mentioned, and the account's getting their name mentioned because this account apparently sold for $75,000 earlier this year, and was purchased for just to be an aggregate account where they're just sending out info on teams. Like I was looking at it earlier today. And by the way, I still follow the account because, 75% of the time I'm getting info that's accurate. Where Everson Griffin, former Vikings defensive lineman, was apparently arrested. Whoever is putting this out, AI or whoever, they're sometimes right, sometimes wrong. But who is behind this is what I can't wrap my head around. Because this tweet was deleted that we're seeing from Dove Kleiman. And they purchased the account. They also kept his name on this account. So I'm trying to figure out the value in that versus being just NFL _ whatever and keeping the followers on that account. You see what I'm asking? To pay for this?
Yeah. Does anyone know Dove Kleiman?
Yeah, he was a former contributor of OutKick and of Bro Bible.
Has anyone met him face to face?
We have Davey joined us in this. We efforted Dove Kleiman early last year, and he would not show his face on video. So we said no, because that was the whole topic of whether or not this dude's real.
Yeah, I think that actually goes back almost 2 years now, where we tried to get him to come on because I can't remember what exactly it was he had reported on. I'd probably put that in quotes, but we're like, hey man, would love to get you on the show, and he's like, well, I would only do an audio interview. It's like, well, we kind of need you for the video component, and would not agree to do that. So
X, Twitter at the time, whatever, they have terms of service where you are not allowed to sell your account. But you can go on different websites, and you can find out how much your account is worth. Chad, your account's worth $6,200 right now. Mine's worth $5,000. OutKick's account is worth $17,000. Clay Travis's account is worth $1.4 million.
Oh my God!
And now $1.4 million. The NFL is worth $1.6 million.
My account is only $11,000 less than what OutKick is worth.
That's what this site said.
All right.
Yeah.
Some good negotiation coming up.
Whatever your account is
good
worth.
bargaining chips right there.
You can
good to
Google
know.
This. It's called
Bosses have really been downplaying.
Twitterworth.io is what you go to.
Do you accept crypto, Chad?
I think I could now be social media coordinator for OutKick. Hearing this news after that, way more valuable than I thought.
So
my opinions do matter. Damn it!
Why would you
thumbnails and all?
So why would someone want Dove Kleiman's account?
Because he's got 289,000 followers.
Well, but
that's why they want it.
But you can buy more than 289,000. Consider the other accounts that are like ML Football.
Yeah.
Ari Miroff was for the longest time.
We have had him on the show, and we know he's real.
Well, he's changed his. He
I
used
know.
to not put his name to the account.
He didn't put his name to the account,
Yeah.
and he didn't show his face. And then
But
since
we have
then,
had him on the show. I remember talking to Ari Mirov on this show.
Yes, we've had him on, I think, multiple times at this point. One thing that's pretty popular.
but now he's on the 33rd team is
Yeah.
what he does, and he does video now. Like he's no longer a part of this conversation of how is this AI, is this a real person? But if this is AI, why is this tweet deleted about Hayden and Mark Davis?
Well,
You see what I'm saying? If it's false and you delete it, why would you? Someone has to physically go on there and delete it.
if you live in a digital world, you're going to get catfished. Like people, are they real? Are they not? This is always a debate. The whole Dove Climb, it's fascinating. First off, this whole story, I'm mesmerized by it because of how much it says about who we are digitally, or who we aren't, or are we even real? If we're not going to do an interview on video, and you're selling yourself as a person with a name, Dove Kleiman, but then you could sell that for $75,000. Honestly, I thought it'd be worth more. When I heard $75,000, I thought it was a steal for whoever bought it, if these reports are true. I want to get to the root of all this, too, and that is my disappointment in whatever X is right now, as opposed to what Twitter was. Now, I understand that long-term, Twitter was probably not financially viable in terms of what they wanted to make for it, and I'm sure that Elon Musk has plans that are going to be more profitable for X. I can tell you as a user of this social media service, it sucks compared to what it was. And I'll give you an example. I don't know what the hell anything is anymore, Hutton. I see that I get new followers every day. Now,
Right.
75% of them look like real people. 25% look like sex bots that are following me that aren't real, or that are probably Russian hackers that have an account. My number doesn't change of followers. For 2 or 3 years, it has stayed about the same, even though I'm seeing more people following me. It's all pay for play at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't you have to pay to even show how many actual followers you have?
I don't know.
Don't you have to pay the top levels
You have to pay to get the
buy?
blue check mark, but you have to do that with Facebook and
You
Instagram
can buy
too.
followers, across a lot of different social media platforms. So
Right.
I say all this to say I don't truly know the value of what a Twitter account that's worth a damn even is anymore. And I felt like 3 years ago I could have told you exactly what it was worth, which it was big. I think Clay's account's a good example of a very profitable and enormous impact type Twitter account. Now I don't know what it means.
So they calculate this based on like how many tweets, how many likes versus, and then you divide it by, or calculate it based on engagement. So you do it based on how many replies you get versus likes. That's your market value. But like, here's one example: Bon Jovi's Twitter, his market value is $5,700. Again, don't know how accurate the tweetbinder.com is, but I've all these are pretty much the same amount whenever
I'm glad you did the research on that, though. That's good.
But here's the thing: the aggregators are the new media. However, in order to aggregate news, you must have the media involved to then have Dove Kleiman bring it all together in one account. You can't have AI tell us about some injury at practice and automatically put it out there first. You can't have who the 5th pick in the NFL draft is going to be while ESPN is at commercial break, unless you have someone put it out there first, physically there, instead of I guess a ghost or some type of extraterrestrial is backstage and knows all this, right? So you still need the media to do this, but I'm one of the guys who are saying I'm not going to unfollow Dove Kleiman's account.
No, me neither.
Because 75-80% of the time, and I'm just guessing here, it's news that we will use as breaking news on the show. I'm just not dumb enough to just click on it and run with it if he's the only source, or it is the only source of said news. And in this case, it was this account reporting it, not linking another report. And that's why it's crap. That's the difference between the aggregate account and actual breaking news. No one thought to call up Mark Davis and say, hey, Jerry Jones won't take a paternity test. I guess you will. What do you think Mark Davis's response was? We've heard from Hayden Hopkins. I'd love.
He hasn't spoken.
I want to know Mark Davis's response.
It's kind of like when
he was headed back to Nashville, or back to Vegas from Nashville, and he found out that he's going to have a kid with Hayden Hopkins.
It's the same as when you get the cool rumor about you in high school that's not true.
You just run with it.
Well, you just you don't say anything, right? No comment. Oh, I heard that you're this, this, or this. And if it's cool, then you just kind of leave it out there for everyone to think on. Just chew on that for a little bit, that idea that I did, in fact, knock up this 26-year-old model, and then let everybody believe what they want to believe. But, yeah, Hayden Hopkins has spoken saying it's not true. Mark Davis hasn't said a word.
Headline, People Magazine, Hayden Hopkins denies she's pregnant with Raiders owner Mark Davis's child. Sporting News, Raiders owner Mark Davis is not expecting a baby after all.
And he hasn't said a word.
Right. I just, Davey, how much do you rely on aggregate accounts versus the hard-pressing news on X?
Not much at all. It's more so if I see it, I might then try and see if anybody else is reporting it.
Verify
it. There was an account that tried to play off as a reporter when I was back in Knoxville, and they continue to get people to this day.
And we love it.
RG West. Yeah, we know it's not real, but they continue to get people to buy it.
Dick West gets everyone.
What's funny, though, too, about that account,
person.
Davey, and this is what, you're trying to follow the real person, which is good, admirable, the way to do it. But it's not people following Richard West, let's say, as a fake account with fake news.
Yeah.
It's every time someone that they are following gets duped by it, retweets it, and then they see that, then they go with it. Yeah. So every time it gets someone, it usually gets at least two people that are reputable with every bit of news, because one person reputable reposts it, retweets it, whatever we're calling it now, and then another reputable person sees that reputable person repost it, so they think it's good, and then they run with it. Then they have to delete everything.
And a lot of times, too, the information's very overblown and exaggerated, and it's where I've seen them, like we'll say Kleiman, watch a show on Fox Sports or ESPN and take a quote out of context and put that just out there in general, just to get people to run with it and see what can go there.
But here's the account currently. Northwestern shows a first look at its temporary Lakeside Stadium to season ticket holders. So then this is via ESPN Rittenberg, but he cites that, or it cites that. But it also has a post from other players on Instagram that may be disgruntled, and it has that former Vikings defensive end Everson Griffin arrested for probable cause DWI early Wednesday morning via the Minnesota State Patrol's report. So it links things, but at the same time posts this and then deletes it. So $75,000 is, again, could this all be planned? Sure, but this is so random. Would you use Mark Davis as the owner? I would go with Bob Kraft, or look at Mark. This is look at this.
Oh, that's the worst look I've ever seen.
You paid $30.
It looks like something in Whoville.
It's Chucky.
Oh, that is scary. Frightening.
There's a billionaire, Chad.
Yeah. What was he eating at dinner the other night? Do you remember? Can you see?
No, I didn't look that close. I did think. You know what I did think was
a piece of raw.
I thought Nepo
rib
baby.
cap, maybe
Nepo baby was immediately what I thought.
Definite Nepo baby vibes from that one. I'm not above a good aggregate account.
Same.
Pretty much every media company now is an aggregator to some extent, to varying levels. So I follow plenty of aggregator type accounts to get news. I'm more interested in an individual. One point started this Twitter account, aggregated things, got a ton of followers, turned it into something, and then cashed out for $75,000 is the story. That's it?
That's the asking price. I saw one report, I believe AJ Perez put out there, that it was there was an exchange for about $21,000 in cryptocurrency.
Oh my gosh.
So Snapback Sports founder and CEO Jack Settleman told Front Office Sports he received a DM in December from Kleiman seeking $75,000 for the account. So he's saying that Kleiman was saying, I'll take $75K.
So the next thing I think is this the only account this guy owns? Does he have other ones that are aggregators that we don't know about that he's behind? It makes me think
that too. Like which ones
So now I can start to piecemeal these things off, right? And then make money off of it.
We're just an age where, like Adam Schefter, I have to double check if it's Adam Schefter being retweeted by someone, to your point, Chad, to see if they're retweeting Adam Schefter or Adam Schefter 1.
Yeah, who's the guy we have on the show, Aaron Torres?
Yes.
He does some of that stuff. Right? He has like different accounts in for different schools, like Torres on Arizona, Torres on that. Like he's not running those accounts. I'm sure he's paying someone or getting paid by someone to monetize those accounts in some way. So this is not something that's totally unique. I'd like to know how many more accounts is Dove Kleiman, if Dove Kleiman's actually real. First up, is Dove Kleiman a real person, or is it some sort of conglomerate?
Right.
2, how many other accounts does he operate, and has he tried to sell those off also?
And where is he? Like, there were reports he was in Israel, right?
At least not stateside.
Yeah. So to your could they be doing EPL or whatever? You know, the same stuff.
Is Saudi Arabia behind this also? Is that what we're all going to find out?
Hey, by the way, I've been saying that NFL's going to have a game in the Middle East. The report is they are looking at the Middle East for one of their next ventures.
Dubai?
Yeah. And no, Abu Dhabi.
Oh, okay.
We're going to find out that Dove Kleiman is Greg Norman, actually. It's all going to tie back together.
Dove Kleiman is the Live Tour.
Yeah.
They are Live Golf.
Saudi blood money. It's all going to come back to that.